You're listening to Titans of the Trades. I'm your host, Ryan England, author of Hire Better People Faster and creator of the CoreFit hiring system, a proven process to help growing companies attract and retain only the best. I'm on a mission to revolutionize the perception of the trades and elevate it to new heights. After growing up in a blue-collar family, my passion for making the trades cool again runs deep. If you're a titan in the industry and want to be on my show, stick around until the end and I'll reveal how you can be my next guest. My name is Ryan England. I'm the host of Titans of the Trades. Welcome back to another episode. Today's guest has such a passion, not only for business, but also for the trades in which he serves. He's a serial entrepreneur and very focused on helping companies execute, because he believes that when you execute correctly, business becomes so much easier. So not only has he developed software platforms to help support this, but he also talks on this subject with people all over the world. I'm very excited to introduce to today's show, Didi Azaria, the CEO of Workiz, a field management platform that is transforming the way companies are serving their customers. Didi, welcome to the show.
Hey, Ryan.
I'm doing great. I'm excited for us to talk today and for you to share some of your brilliance with our listeners. Because even in the few minutes we spent talking, I know that you've got a ton of actionable insights that you can share with them. So tell our listeners a little bit about you and what you're up to these days.
Amazing. Thank you for having me to start with. And a little bit about me, about Workiz. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm doing that all my life, basically building companies to help others make their business better, I guess. Back in the days, I built Sisense, which is one of the leading business intelligence companies in the world today. Spent around 13 years over there. Then I met my current partner, Dan. We were both locksmiths in different times of our lives. I've done it when I was very young. Wasn't a great locksmith, to be honest. I hope nobody met me. But he was super successful. And he asked for help. After a few meetings, we basically fell in love, I guess. And since then, we're together since 2018.
Wow.
And we created Workiz together to revolutionize the field service industry. So we basically, internally, Workiz is automating everything other than holding a wrench. And everything that we do since then is towards that vision. We really believe that it's all about the people. So the technician that comes and fix whatever they do. And if we can automate a little bit of the friction, a little bit of the digital hustle that they have on the day-to-day, they can do much more work and they can go home earlier and they can be happier. So that's what Workiz is all about in general.
Great. I'd love to jump into that in just a minute. One of the things I love meeting serial entrepreneurs, people that have found success, went and found success again and did it over and over again. What are some actionable things that you can give our listeners as they're on their own entrepreneurial journey, whether it's their first company or their 10th company? What are some things that you've learned along the way that you're like, that's gold. Like, I'm going to hold on to that every step I take on my next business journey?
You might be surprised. It's never about the product. It doesn't matter what you build. You can build the most amazing machine or the most amazing, service. Nothing is more important than execution. Nothing. Meaning you need to bring people in, which is lead generation. You need to serve them amazingly, and you need to retain them. Relationship is key. And without those three, your business is dead. So it doesn't matter, again, how amazing plumber you are, how amazing locksmith you are. You need to know how to serve. And without that, your product does not exist.
Well, with your work at Workiz, you work with a lot of contractors. And so I'm sure you've seen some what not to do's and what to do's. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see entrepreneurs in the trades making right now when it comes to their business?
There's so many. So let's start with pricing.
Just pick one or two for us.
I'll start with the top three. Pricing. People do not know how to price their business, how to price their working hour, which is probably most important. not too many of us understand how important our working hour is and how to price it. We just don't price our time in the right way, unfortunately. Next would be margins. You don't take enough margins to survive as a business. And we are always been, I mean, I've seen so many businesses under the impression that if they're just going to lower their price a little bit more, they're going to get more jobs or going to be more successful. Guys, this is quite the opposite. You need to price in a fair range, but at the same time, you cannot starve to death. Nobody's going to enjoy your services if you're going to close shop. So those two things are probably the main reasons of why businesses are failing or closing shop.
That second one I love, where you talk about they lower their price. I'm so passionate on the people side and how you grow effective teams and keep them. And everybody's like, well, I just got to pay more. I just got to pay more, which is the opposite of I just got to lower price and I'll get more. But it's the same problem. I've been told this many times. There's always someone willing to go bankrupt faster than you. In other words, there's someone always willing to undercut you, and there's always someone willing to pay more than you. You have to differentiate in other ways. And I like that pricing one. I hear a lot of times people don't price themselves right because they grow up in the trades. They think, well, I made $35 an hour. I went and started my own company. If I make $65 an hour, I'm doing great. And that's not how you can price it if you're going to run a business. So
not at all, not at all. And in the HVAC world or plumbing, I guess you need to use good, better, best, because you will always have people that will want to pay more. I mean, it's like that in the world. Why wouldn't you use it? And good, better, best is not for you. It's for them to feel better about buying more expensive services. If you don't offer them, obviously you're keeping money on the table. So that's one of those ways that you keep your pricing low, but at the same time, keep your average higher.
Yeah. Yeah. And as someone who's been on the receiving side of that from a contractor, I've had contractors like, this is what you need to do. This is the cost. No options, no good, better, best, nothing. And I'm like, I'll shop around. Right. I think there's just something about that human nature. We want to know that we made the decision. The decision wasn't forced on us.
Yes, absolutely. I agree.
I think that's where that comes from. So on the other side of that, so those are some of the things, those are two things that the entrepreneurs aren't doing right. What's one thing that you see them doing or one thing that's very easy for them to start doing that they need to be doing?
Easy as what?
Good. That's good. So, for me, one of the things that I coach a lot of people on, and once they get it, their business transforms is, hey, this is a relationship between you and your employee. You need to think of it as a relationship. And you can't just say that employee has to leave all their baggage at the door or leave their home life at home, because that's not how human beings work. We can't compartmentalize things like that. And once they get over that and say, whoa, when I start thinking of them as people and I start realizing that I hired the whole person, like things just transform in their business. Like people stay longer, they're more productive, they have better communication, a lot of stuff. So that's one of the things that when I see an employer doing that or an entrepreneur doing that, and they just believe that their people are their most important asset, transforms their business. So what are some things that you see entrepreneurs doing on a regular basis that it's like, yeah, keep doing more of that? Not on the people side, because that's my world. I'm looking for your side with more operations and stuff.
I do see the most successful businesses realize soon enough that they need to multiply, basically create a multi-location strategy. In many cases, the town is too small for you. The neighborhood is too small for you. And without expanding to a new location, it's just going to suck yourself out. It's just, you're not going to be able to grow anymore. In many businesses, without growing, it just means that you're going to be very mediocre towards your entire business life. And this is what most very successful businesses are doing. They hire more people. They bring one of their more successful employees to manage a location, and they open a new one and a new one. And we clearly see so many examples in the US today of successful franchise businesses that are more successful than high-tech companies today. If I was, I guess, 20 years younger, a franchise will probably the way to go instead of founding a SaaS company.
Yeah. Yeah, that franchise model, Michael Gerber taught me that in his book, The E-Myth, right? Talking about how do you make it so that you can copy, paste, repeat your business execution, which you said is the most important thing. Execution is everything. And so once you have that execution documented, you can teach it to someone else and they can go execute on the exact same way you did. That's that
Yeah,
franchise
but for
model.
this, you need to make it work on a very small scale. Meaning
Mm.
you are the first employee. Then when you hire the next employee, they need to be almost exactly as you, like processes. They cannot be you, but they need to follow processes. And the next one will need to follow exactly the same processes. And when you can have a system to monitor that, it grows beautifully. It's
Wow.
like another one and another one. And this is why we need trainers, and this is why we need retaining those employees. You need to pay them well for them to become part of this amazing machine, which you always fine tune until you get a great success.
Well, and I'm sure that that is something you're incredibly passionate about, is having that system in place, because that's what Workiz does, is it helps you put that system in place, hold people accountable to it. For those people out there that are thinking, you know what, I need a better system. I need a better way to manage the field and the tickets and the customers and everything else. What are some of the things, or what are some questions, I guess, that they could be asking themselves to help them make that right decision? Whether it's Workiz or it's another software platform out there, how do you guide people through that?
I would start by saying there is no one system that fits everybody. I mean, there is no such a creature, and you should not consider any of the field service software as, it fits everybody. Most field service software are great for specific kind of verticals. We started our discussion by commercial, residential. This is a good way to start.
Yeah.
And then which verticals they're serving, because each vertical needs bits and bytes of a software that not everybody has. And it can be anything: service agreements, good, better, best. It can be automations. Many of the businesses do not like to do tedious tasks. So if the system doesn't have automations, it's probably not going to serve you very well. Can the system do everything versus be easy to onboard and use? That's another thing that companies should consider. I'll just give you an example. If you hire and fire 2-3 times a year, and it happens, unfortunately, you need to consider the onboarding time for those systems as unused time. I mean, it's just wasted time. So the easier, the better, as long as it serves the business needs. So this is what I would look at in a very granular way without digging in too much. And many of us are trying to look for the cheapest product. If you're not familiar with software, just look at it as cars, as trucks. If you're not going to buy the cheapest truck, because if it's going to break down, your business is going to cease to, just not going to work this week.
Yeah.
The same goes with software. If you're relying on a software and it breaks, or it doesn't provide you with whatever you need, don't use the cheapest one. It's just a very bad idea.
It's interesting. I think on my own personal journey with that, and I was always looking to save a buck on software, always looking for the next cheapest one. And then I kept looking and I kept looking and I kept looking. And it wasn't until I got to the point where it's like, I could hire somebody and pay them $50,000 a year to do this work, and they're going to call in sick and they're going to have training issues and everything else. Or I can hire a software company that gives me the technology and has a whole support team behind it that could replace not just that one employee, but 3 or 4 employees, right? And when I got to the point where I started thinking about this software as being my next hire, it was so much easier for me to justify the cost, because I would never want the employee that comes to me and is like, oh, I'll take minimum wage. No worries. I'm like, wait a minute. If you're not confident enough in your skills to want more pay, I'm not going to pay the lowest price for an employee because I want the best.
It's the most expensive. It's the most expensive part. The cheapest. I mean, I'm always saying, I'm not rich enough to buy cheap stuff. It's always true.
Yeah.
To your point about employees, again, we want to amplify employees versus replace them, but we cannot ignore something very big that goes on these days, and this is impacting the entire industry, which is the AI revolution. I mean, we hear it from all of our customers, and we serve around 100,000 technicians right now.
Wow.
In US and Canada.
Okay.
They all use ChatGPT, so obviously it's a useful tool for them, and many of them are basically using it to speak to their customers and do a whole bunch of stuff. But within time, and we already at that time, AI helps us to amplify almost every aspect of the back office. And just as an example, we released Jessica. Everybody are calling it Jessica these days, but we call it Jessica too. It's a virtual dispatcher. And it's not there to replace dispatchers. It's just there to amplify them. So whenever the dispatcher is going home 5 p.m. or before 8 a.m., the virtual dispatcher takes on. And what it does, it's exactly the same work as the dispatcher will do, which basically picks up the phone and say, "Hey, Ryan, how may I help you?" And you will be surprised because she knows your name, which a dispatcher should be, by the way, because they have all the data. But at the same time, AI is much faster, it's much wiser, and it's providing with a better service in many ways. And from 5 p.m. or over weekends, this dispatcher is handling the rescheduling, new jobs, and other simple questions. And you know what's amazing to me? About 40% of the calls are being unanswered. 40% of the calls. We have our own embedded phone system, so we know the data. We're running millions of calls every month right now, and 40% of them are basically unanswered. What happens if 1 out of 10 of these calls are actual customers that wants your service? So again, that's one example of many that AI can help these days, while not requiring you to hire an external call center, for instance. And I'm very confident it's going to change the industry altogether. And when you look at anything that can serve you in the next few years, please look at AI and do not ignore it, because your competitors will use it and going to get better because of it.
Well, and I like how you started that talking about AI. So I was just recording a show and we were talking about AI. And, the one thing I think that a lot of people don't get about AI, and you already addressed it, is that it's a tool. It's there to support and help your team to make them more efficient, more effective. It's designed to cover for them when they're not available, because we can't expect people to work 24/7 as much as we'd like that. And I see a lot of people are like, we're going all in on AI. We're getting rid of our customer support team and it's all going to be that. And I have one of those companies that's a vendor of mine. And if there was another choice, I wouldn't be with the company anymore, because it's everything. You get stuck up against this bot. And if the bot doesn't understand, they're like, we don't have people to transfer you to. Like, that's
you always need a backup. A fallback is required in order to achieve, again, the greatness. The machine that we were discussing before will not be replaced by a single AI. You need people, and eventually the technician is the key for your success. But the technician will probably forget to ask for a good review. And you need good reviews to create repetitive business. And you need somebody to remind the technicians and the clients to be home when the technician arrives. I mean, back in the days, I didn't have any cell phone. It was 2000, right? Or 1999. I was using Thomas Tool Guides. I managed, but guys, to not manage, just use technology today, because you don't want to show up at a client location just to figure out they left you a voicemail saying that they're not going to be home tomorrow. It's not the right practice.
Yeah. It's interesting, and we could probably have a whole episode just talking about AI and the benefits and the advantage and everything else. But we've seen one of the things that we've seen our clients use AI for is to better help document processes. That's not something that you're using, that you're giving to your people. Let's get this stuff out of my head. In fact, one of them that I'm really excited about is Loom. I can record in my phone. I can talk to it for 10 minutes of how I want someone to answer the phone, and then Loom will transcribe it and it'll put it into a process document I can hand to my people. That's a game changer. But I'm not letting Loom answer my calls. It's not happening.
But
how are you guys?
You should too. Yes,
What
go
was
ahead.
that?
Sorry.
What were you
I
saying?
said, but you should look into the advantages, advances in the technology, because at some point, and we do know that today, because our virtual dispatcher answered already, I think, tens of thousands of real phone calls, and it's doing, again, a better job than dispatchers, or let's say it's doing a better job than call centers or late hours. Okay,
I love it.
that's for sure. I don't think it's doing a better job than dispatcher. Dispatchers have a lot of skills that will not be replaced tomorrow morning. But the technology is at the point that it's very mature to answer phones.
And that's something that's part of your platform, is this virtual dispatcher?
Yeah, Jessica is an integral part of the platform, and it's making tens of thousands of dollars extra to each business that joins in.
I love it. How else are you guys using AI over there at Workiz?
Internally, the entire team is working with AI. I mean, we partnered with OpenAI, I think 3 years ago. So we're very sufficient in what we do. Me, myself, I'm an AI expert. I have AI patents on my name. So I'm very technical in my education. But to be honest, we're calling it practical AI. We don't want any shiny tools. So the Workiz platform in general comes to help contractors with anything from replying to messages, whether it's text messages, down to you just got a warranty of 12 pages of PDF, and you need to answer right now because somebody else is going to take your job if you're not going to be the one to do that. So we created Genius Leads. It reads everything and it replies for you for the warranty. And then we took it to the next level. We have a phone system. Great. Why wouldn't we transcribe the entire phone call? We're going to summarize it and we're going to push it into the CRM without any typing needed in between. So now a dispatcher picks up the phone, do the entire call, and then see the address, the job type, whatever the client just said, perfectly, no mistakes happening in between. And then they click add job or add lead. We just saved 5 minutes, zero mistakes. So we took almost every aspect of AI and embedded it within the actual processes that contractors are doing on the day-to-day.
And then you just made that person who answered the phone that much more efficient so they can spend time serving the customer, being a part of the team, training, leveling up their skills, doing the things that we need our people to do because they're not doing data entry.
Exactly. They need to use their brain and not the tedious tasks that somebody made them do.
I love that. That's so great. I've got I think that's awesome. I love too that you guys have not said, oh, we're going the entire AI platform. So I don't know if you saw this, but for a couple of years, everybody was like, oh, we're now, Dialpad did that. I'll never forget. We're Dialpad AI. And then here we are 3 years later and they're like, we're removing the AI from our name because it's not what we do. It's like, I saw all these companies say, we're going all in on AI, and they became an AI platform. And you're not. You're supplementing the platform with AI to increase efficiency, increase productivity, make people more effective. And I love that. So
exactly. Again, it's a tool.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're a wealth of knowledge. You surprised me with the patents on AI. Brilliant guy. Not only know how to build businesses and do it over and over again, but also how to really serve contractors and really make sure that they're getting an effective tool out of Workiz. How do people learn about you, and how do they learn more about you and more about what you're doing over at Workiz?
So anybody who wants to connect with me, LinkedIn will probably be the best platform. I'm writing a lot about AI and the field services. So if you want to learn more about that, I'm more than happy that you're going to read my nonsense. About Workiz, just workiz.com, workiz.com. That's where you can find all details. We have a free trial, which everybody can use. No credit card needed. And we have great partners like you, which we can, again, join forces because this industry needs more training. It needs more skills and human skills more than anything.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for being on the show. I've enjoyed it, and I know that our listeners got a ton of valuable insights from you today. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much for having me.
Ryan England here. Thank you so much for listening to Titans of the Trades. If you're a titan in the construction, manufacturing, or skilled trades industry and would like to be a guest on my show, please visit podcast.corematters.com. If you found value in this interview, would you share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot on your phone and share it with a friend or post it on social. And if you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Titans of the Trades. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, click the subscribe button. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and get me one step closer to solving the labor crisis facing the industry. Want to know more about how we're doing that? Go to our website or follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening.